Hi, I'm Bruce Last, a Trust and Estates Attorney Editor here at CEB, and in this short video I'm going to show you some of the features of our new research tool and our new Citator TrueCite, which will assist you in getting fast results and hopefully a better assessment of the law within those results. What you see right now is the primary screen when you log on, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here and click the Research tab. This will bring you to the primary search site. The system by default will search the secondary sources. So if I type in the search bar a search term, for example, let's say I've heard about this thing called a Hegstad petition, you'll notice right away that this will drop down a predictive search menu. And you can see it already knows I want to look for a Hegstad petition. And you'll notice it has secondary sources, which are the various legal treatises, and below that we'll have some other search terms. So for this, I'm just going to hit Hegstad petition. These will give us our primary search results, and you'll notice we're still in the secondary sources menu. Right below here, there's a section that will say our results in other sections. So you can see I have 52 cases and 5,196 statutes. I can always start my search from here, and you'll notice here we have the various titles of the various treatise chapters going down the screen here. And on the right, we have the titles of the various chapters. So I can look from there and see if anything piques my interest off the first hit. If I was looking for something in trust administration, I could see here this is California Trust Administration, and I could click straight through to chapter 5.56, which will bring you to the primary site in the secondary source here. You'll notice that in the secondary source, the codes and also the estate, or also the case itself, are linked through, and you can always link through by clicking one of those items. Now, if you want to go back, you can just hit the back button on your browser. When I work, I tend to like to have multiple windows open so I can flip through between sources. So what you want to do is a right click and open link in new tab. And that'll bring up a secondary window, and this would allow you to flip through the two different types of sources. So here I can read the treatise information, and then I can flip over and compare it to the actual case. We'll go back now to the primary search results. So let's say I really wasn't interested in treatises and I was interested in cases. I could access that through hitting the case log. This will show you the various cases. The primary case of Estate of Hegstad, which is the landmark case establishing the procedure of how to get a property into a trust that wasn't named into a trust. And you'll notice here this is our citator, which will let you know there's caution, and you can push down here, and it will drop down and let you know that the primary case distinguishing this is Carney versus Worthington, and there are 54 other cases that cite Estate of Hegstad. If we take a look at the citations, this will bring up both published and unpublished decisions discussing Hegstad, and you can drop down just like before to see other information. This screen will also tell you whether it's unpublished, whether it's discussed, caution, indicating that there's potentially something in that case that might change the outcome, and of course overruled would be another one of the items. In order to scroll, you can either use the scroll bar on the right of the screen, or as I was just doing, you can use your up and down arrow keys. If you want to access any of the cases, you can just click on the case name, and again, just like before, you can see that Carney versus Worthington was cited in 4 cases, and it was last cited April 10th, 2019. If we go back again, we can take a look. We're back here again in the cases menu, and we can always switch over to see where it's mentioned in statutes. But just by clicking there, you'll see the first statute it brings up is Probate Code 850, which is the probate code on which Hegstad is really based upon. So that covers the primary uses of this upper corner here. Below this, We can always search within the results. For example, I might want to search form of title, and that'll narrow the search results by cases that are now mentioning both Hegstead and form of title. Resetting back again, we can narrow by our court type here, by cause of action, by procedural posture. For example, we can see here there's one case handling a demur and one case handling an anti-slap motion. The disposition of the case, the role of the appellant, and of course, the year of the case. This is particularly interesting because this is a good way to narrow results down to only the most recent cases. So in this case, I can see there's one case that's talking about Hegstead, or at least that has the word Hegstead in it since 2019. Now let's try something different here. When using the search bar, for example, here on the power of attorney, I can search power of attorney. This will bring up results that show both the full phrase power of attorney or the word power and attorney. If we scroll to the bottom, and you'll notice it'll highlight the term where it results in the return result. As we get farther away from the first hits, you'll notice that it will show where power and attorney are both present but have been separated by some distance. We'll return to the first primary page. If you want to search for an exact phrase, you can enclose it in quotations. And this will show results only for power of attorney, that exact phrase. So in this case, I want to take a look at power of attorney statutes. And again, it will drop me right to all of the power of attorney statutes. Now, if I wanted to modify the search, I could, for example, put finance. And this shows any results that have that separate finance. And I can always, as before, I can always switch between cases and secondary sources. So that's kind of a basic walkthrough of doing simple searches with the new CEB Citator. I hope you found this informative, and stay tuned for more how-to videos in the future.